Rotarians. Good morning. Who's making a difference?
We are! We're lighting something up.
We're lighting up Rotary.
Now you get it.
Now we get it.
All right, Chris is going to tell us all about our wonderful guests who are attending today.
Setting fire to Rotary.
Good morning, Rotarians.
Good morning. Good
If you would please join me in welcoming our guests, and if they would please stand up when I call their name. First, we have Lori Oliver. She's today's speaker, and she's Executive Director from Hattie Larm. And then we have returning our honorary member and former Secretary Extraordinaire and the biggest helper at our annual gala. We have Connie Morawski. So happy that she's with us today. Hey, Connie! And then we have Bev DeCane, guest of Joe Avella, joining us once again. Thank you.
Good morning.
Jimmy, are you ready?
I like that song, keep on smiling. I thought it was a good idea if I kind of cleared the air. I've been not well. I've told some people my problem, I haven't told everybody, so it got kind of confusing. But back in December, I got a very bad report. Sickle cell carcinoma, stage 4. I was told I had 3 months, 6 months, or a year to live. Our kids have been great, trying to eat healthy and avoid sugar. For sure, take all the prayers I can get. And I'm really glad to be a Rotarian.
We're passing around the Business Expo sheet. We're hoping that some of you who will be around will be able to help. It is a great event, fun, lots of free things for people who have children or grandchildren if they like to see what's going on. But it's a great opportunity to meet other people in the community as well. Next, we're going to have the swearing in of a new member. Max, come on up. Pete, come on up. We'll just take time to chat for a few minutes, that's all right. I'm going to read the oath, and if you agree, you just say yes. Rotary is an international organization of business and professional people pledged to uphold the highest ethical and moral standards to improve our local community and to achieve the ultimate goal of world understanding and peace. Pete Goheen, do you accept membership in the Rotary Club of Hudson, and as a Rotarian agree that you will abide by the principles of Rotary, that you will fulfill the Rotary motto of service above self, and will build goodwill and better friendships by participating in our fundraiser efforts, service projects, and social programs? On behalf of your fellow Rotarians, it is my pleasure to welcome you as our newest Rotary. You're on, and would you like to say a few words or wait till later? Okay, we'll have an opportunity for you at a future meeting to tell us all about yourself. All right, thanks. Thanks, Max. Next, we're going to have our kickoff with the wonderful Connie, and who else is going to be? Duncan, talking to us about our big fundraiser.
You're here. There's a picture of Duncan.
Look, thank you. Thank you very much. Somebody write down $2. Tobin P. Very good. We don't want to get Tom in trouble. Yes, that's a sled dog, and that will become more relevant in a moment. It's that time, folks. The vast majority of you have been through this.
Oh, boy.
Now, certainly, in deference to the Iditarod and our sled dog, who I think we'll name Phil. Let's go through two key parts of this. First of all, I want to go through the kits briefly. Everybody should have a kit in front of them right now. If they don't, and in the interest of time, just see myself or Connie before you leave. I believe that we covered all the bases here. Right, okay. All right. Hang on. Okay. Now, we are under the same timeline that I'm told we have experienced year after year. In other words, we've got to hit the ground running. We need to make our calls. We need to bring in gifts ASAP. Take it from one who does this for a living. The longer you wait to pick up the phone the first time, the more difficult this becomes. That is the psychology of solicitation, if you will. So please, jump out of the gate, wrap them up. In the vast majority of cases, these are calls that for the most part you've made before. Now, on the right side of the kit, you should have, hopefully in this order, but if not, don't freak out. And again, if you have any questions about who you're calling upon, how many you're calling upon, who your team captain is, and it's not self-explanatory in the kit, and believe me, I think it is, then see Connie or me before you leave today. Right side top, sample letter. This is the letter that will go out. Tom Tobin, where are you?
Here I am.
Tom, it's my understanding that you're on top of the letters.
That's right.
So to speak. Appreciate it. Underneath that, a sample advertising letter. If, in fact, they would like to place an ad, and when you're connecting with these folks, get what you can get. That's the letter that explains exactly what the costs are and what the benefits are of advertising for the 2015 gala. Underneath that, again, we're still on the right side, the donor gift sheet. Now, Ron and Gail's instructions to me at this point have been capitalized. That means that this is very, very important and bears repeating. You must fill out in its entirety a donor sheet for each gift you receive. Notice that you only have one donor sheet. Make copies. Okay. Finally, right side in the back, an advertising order form, if in fact they wish to place an ad. So certainly you're asking for gifts, but please be cognizant of the opportunity to get an ad as well. Left side of the kit, you see 2 tickets. You are responsible for those 2 tickets, hopefully more, but checks will be gratefully accepted by Joe Avella and others at your earliest convenience for those 2 tickets. Team assignment sheet. If you don't like your team captain, tough. We're all in this together. We've got a very likable group. And that's that.
What if we don't like the chairman of the organization?
Woof. Sorry, Phil.
That's why Connie's up there.
The assignment sheets, and finally, back left, a worksheet. For those of you that like to keep track of your progress or lack thereof, this is the sheet to do it on. Again, any questions or comments, Connie and I will be more than happy, in the interest of time now, to field them after. Now, without further ado, the one, the only, you loved her in the history of sled racing. What was the name? Oh, Balto. Remember the dog that saves the community by getting the farm, getting the medicine back in time?
From Cleveland.
Yeah.
Balto's from Cleveland?
Well, in Cleveland.
He's in Cleveland. It's in the Natural History Museum.
Brad, please tell me that's not the original Balto stuffed up at the museum.
Yeah.
It is.
Wonderful.
And the statue is at the Cleveland Zoo.
Ladies and gentlemen, Connie from the Iditarod. You bet.
Thank you. Everybody. I was going to say we were going to have this kind of dog sled race in honor of the winter weather, but now I think I'll do it in honor of Balto. Since he's in Cleveland, and all of us are probably stiff like that too. So Balto, those of you who have gone through this before realize that we always kind of have a fun thing, a little contest or race. And last year I came in a derby hat for the derby. Well, this is my Iditarod hat. So we're going to have the 2015 Gala Iditarod. So get ready. Let's see if I can do this right.
Point it here. Point it here.
Point it there. He keeps telling me every time. I'm just like a little kid. Did it work? Yay! So we know why we're having it. We're having it for the gala, which is Friday, May the 8th, at 6 to 10 at Hilton Garden Inn in Twinsburg. For those of you that are new with us. It's our 31st annual gala, yay! And 31st party where we'll have a howling good time, just like this little dog down here. Yeah. So, why are we having it though? Why do we do this? We do this to share the wealth that we take in through this gala with people who need it most. And in this case, as in last year, is children. Our beneficiaries this year, our featured beneficiaries, are Gift of Life of Northeast Ohio. For those of you who aren't aware, that's an organization that brings in children, disadvantaged children from depressed areas around the world to have life-saving heart surgery at Akron Children's Hospital. We provide transportation for a child and an adult with that child to come here and have that surgery. And the doctors at the hospital donate the surgery. So that is literally a life-saving event for children who would otherwise not perhaps see another birthday after the one this year. So Hattie Larlin, which I understand speaking today. Hattie always has a need for many, many pieces of equipment. This year they want a Hoyer lift to lift individuals in and out of tubs, in and out of different facilities to move them around, and a tub liner so people can take a bath comfortably daily. We all know the good that Hattie Larlin does for the developmentally disabled, and you're going to hear more about them today, so that'll just bolster your resolve to get out there and make this Rotary work. And then Hudson Schools Student Assistance Fund is our local beneficiary this year, and that's a great fund that provides for children that don't have the advantages that many others have to participate in events because they can't afford the fees, or to even go to school with the necessary supplies. So school is a wonderful experience for them. It's a good experience. It's an opportunity to actually learn. So these are all good. That's why we're doing it for the kids. Our goal this year is $40,000. Yay! Actually, that was our goal last year, and you did it.
Now, Connie, who's that?
That's the person who can't believe that we can actually get $40,000. So next year, that's actually a shoat. Shoat. Yeah, it's actually, teens used to wear that white fur on their ermines, or what you probably know them as. I know, it's a shoat.
You should be hiding.
Well, he's wondering, looking at, it's a nice winter animal with his winter coat on. Now, teams. Duncan explained everything about a team. Some of you are new members and aren't aware of what's going on, but some of your old members that know what's going on.
I see my teammates.
In the spirit of Rotary friendship and fellowship and camaraderie, that's why you're in a team, because we work as a team. Just as these very dedicated, beautiful animals work as a team. If one of those animals lies down, what happens to the rest of the team during the race? So, just like those beautiful animals, we can work together as a team, and all of us get up and running and help one another. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to go to your team captain, your team members. Team captains can work with one another, and as Duncan said, don't hesitate to come to the people on the committee. But that's how we make it work, because yours isn't a top team, right? And those dogs are just sleeping, by the way, for those of you who are concerned. But we're the bottom team, where we get results. See those dogs? That's it. That's what we are. So remember, it's all about the kids. the kids for surgery, the kids at Hattie Larlam, the kids in the school system who need supplies. And as usual, we are going to have fun by keeping score of how well you do each week. So each week we're going to post up there results of the gifts that you bring in, and maybe at the end of the whole thing there'll be some kind of prize for the winning team, perhaps a package of fudge pops. Actually in May, maybe welcome. That's what you're going to get. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for what I know you're going to make to be an absolutely fabulous, fabulous gala this year. I have no doubt, so I'm thanking you on behalf of the committee in advance, and mush.
Yeah.
Take that hat off.
All right, now we're all fired up and ready to get on our dog sleds, right? Thanks, Connie. Thanks, Duncan. I don't see Dexter here this morning. He was going to mention that we have a next social event. It'll be at Playhouse Square, Sesame Street Live. And check the website because the details are on our website. Those of you who missed last Sunday's My Heart is the Drum at Kent State was fabulous. Right, Dan? Didn't we like that? Jim Hackney was there, and it was terrific. We also went to Dexter's Church, Christ Community Church. I said that right.
Chapel.
The chapel.
Christ
CCC, isn't it CCC? Christ Community Chapel.
There you go.
All right, I did it. Sorry, Dexter. But he's a great singer, and I mean, he moves when he sings, so that was a lot of fun to hear him. Alrighty, next we're ready for our featured speaker. Roseanne, if you'd like to come up and introduce Lori.
Good morning, Rotarians.
Good morning, Roseanne.
It is my pleasure to introduce to you our speaker today, Lori Oliver. And Lori is the Vice President of the Center and Group Home Services at Hattie Larlam. Dr. Oliver oversees all the programs and services offered at the Hattie Larlam Center for Children with Developmental Disabilities in Manaway, as well as locations throughout Northeast Ohio. Dr. Oliver brings more than 24 years of mental health research and services experience to Hattie Larlam. Her track record of successful program development and administration includes 12 years as Assistant Chief Executive Officer for Clinical Services at a state psychiatric hospital. During this time, Dr. Oliver was recognized by the Medical Director of the Ohio Department of Mental Health for excellence in clinical leadership. A continued commitment to serving people with disabilities led Dr. Oliver to Hattie Larlam. Dr. Oliver earned her PhD in clinical psychology from Kent State University. She is a graduate of the Mental Health Executive Leadership Program at Case Western Reserve University, Weatherhead School of Management. And Dr. Oliver is a lifetime member of Mensa International and currently resides in Stowe, Ohio. So please give her a warm Rotary welcome this morning.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me, and thank you for inviting me, Roseanne. This is really a very nice group. I'm very impressed. You're so friendly and congenial, and I really feel welcome here, so thank you for that. Before I get started, I also would like to say thank you for your kindness and generosity. The gifts that you have given to Hattie Larlam have really made an impact and improved the lives of the people that we serve. I know that they would thank you themselves if they could, but since they can't, I will do so on their behalf. And during this presentation, you will get to see and meet some of the folks that you have helped through your gifts and your generosity, and hopefully get a better understanding of what Hattie Larlam is all about. I did come to Hattie Larlam about 3.5 years ago. Hattie has a phenomenal history, and I'm just happy to be a small part of it, and that's what we're going to start off today with, is to give you a little bit of background and history about Hattie Larlam so you have a context for the great organization that it has become today. So Hattie Larlam, what is this strange name, Hattie Larlam, for an organization? Well, Hattie was actually a real person. Hattie was a nurse, and she established the Hattie Larlam Foundation back in 1961. It all started with one child that she was a nurse in a hospital, and this one child had some severe medical issues and really nowhere to go. So Hattie took this child home, and that's how it started, with one child. And before you knew it, she had a reputation of being a good-hearted person who just wanted to make a difference in children's lives. And before you knew it, more and more children started showing up on her doorstep, and to the point where the home couldn't accommodate all these children, and that's how the foundation got started, which eventually grew into the organization it is today. It was the first residential services for children with disabilities in Ohio, and I'd like to show you a brief video. It's about 3 minutes long. One of our original founding members who knew Hattie is speaking about the history, and you'll get to hear a little bit from Hattie in her own words about how everything got started. So here's a video real quick.
I don't believe anyone could work with these children unless they had...
Yeah, it's the Garfield video.
Yep.
We had it queued up. Always something, right?
It's definitely worth it, you'll see.
Garfield?
It's right.
Our story began 45 years ago in 1961, when one woman and her family had the courage and commitment to reach out to children with fragile medical conditions by sharing with them their home as well as the love and care those children so much needed. A registered nurse by profession, Hattie Larlam, along with her husband Richard and their 3 children, opened up their hearts and their lives to these children with such special needs. It was truly my privilege at that time to meet Hattie and learn of her vision and passion for children with such disabilities. I, as well as others, could not walk away. We were all committed to helping her in any way we could in making a reality of her vision. Along with my fellow original board members, Elmer Stoltzfus, Sheldon Epstein, Ed Crane, Earl Miser, Dr. John Allen, and board president Ned Sargent, as well as many other volunteers, we were able to raise $110,000 to build a modern facility. With the help of members of the local community and the groundswell of regional support, the first hospital, as Hattie called it, opened in 1966. This allowed for 50 children to receive the care they needed. Through the years, there have been 5 additional expansions to that original building, which now serves 126 children, and equally important, their families. Our program began with the selfless commitment of one woman. It was nurtured by her family and has survived because of an extraordinarily talented and dedicated staff and unknown numbers of volunteers and otherwise generous and concerned friends who have respected that vision and helped us to move forward, always reaching out to more disabled people and their families here and throughout the state of Ohio. On September 4th of this year, an era ended when Richard Larlam joined his Hattie here on our grounds that had been their farmland home, where they had chosen to be buried. It is a resting place which serves as a reminder to all who carry on their legacy that life is sacred, and comfort, joy, and achievement are our obligations to those with special needs. It has been an honor for me to have known Hattie, great good fortune to have believed in her, and a privilege as a board member and officer for 45 years to have participated in the ongoing realization of her dream.
So that's Hattie, and as you can see, Hattie Larlam really started off as a family effort. And the organization is still very much a family today. It's really was astonishing to me, having come to Hattie Larlam from the mental health world, how different it was, the facility that I came from, which was a psychiatric hospital, to a place that's more of a home. This is where our folks live, and the staff there really are their family members. So what does Hattie Larlam look like today? Today, we're much more than that small farmhouse that Hattie started. We have vocational programs in the community. Some of them are shown here. Our doggy daycares, our catering, our cafes, our gardens. We have group homes in the community where folks who are able can live and work and thrive in community small homes, integrated out there just like the rest of us. We have our wonderful creative arts program, which I'll tell you a little bit more about later. And we have the Center for Children with Disabilities, which is where my home base is. And if you will indulge me with one more brief video, I will show you a little bit more about what Hattie Larlam looks like today. There's a tiny bit of history at the beginning, but it shows you more current what services that we're offering and the impact of those services on the lives of the people we serve.
I don't believe anyone could work with these children unless they had a consuming amount of love in their heart. You just have to have. Paul said now abide is three things: faith, hope, and charity, and the greatest of these is charity, charity meaning love. And without charity and without love, there isn't anything very worthwhile that we could do.
Those words ring true today, as Hattie Larlam is privileged to serve individuals with disabilities and their families. Our mission of comfort, joy, and achievement is taken to heart 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, through dedication, commitment, innovation, and quality. We hold true to our rich legacy of paying attention to the smallest detail. A room decorated to personal choices. An opportunity to provide care to a cherished pet. A time to explore personal creativity. A chance to learn a new skill. A name on a hat worn proudly at work. A moment to share with a friend, a parent, or a new acquaintance. Service that begins and ends each day with the value statement of cares. Hattie Larlam began in our founder's small farmhouse in 1961 and is now spread over 20 counties, providing quality service within our facilities, in family homes, and in the community. The needs and wants of each individual who comes into our care is carefully reviewed and acted upon. Our programs and services are life-spanning. In-home physicians, nursing, respiratory therapists, physical and occupational therapists, vocational specialists, and direct care staff are driving to meet and exceed the expectations of the individual and families within our circle of care. Innovative programs and expanding our scope of services are top priorities at Hattie Larlam. As an organization nationally known for excellence, we now reach out to individuals with challenges through programs specifically created for their personal success. There are no preset limits to the possibilities and opportunities available to those who come to our doors. For families who have hard decisions to make for their children, there does not need to be one direction, one choice, one option. The doors at Hattie Larlam are open to all and give families a variety of choices to assist them. Choice, an option for every human being. Hattie Larlam honors those choices. Hattie Larlam respects those choices. Hattie Larlam welcomes those choices. Hattie Larlam for nearly 50 years, providing comfort, joy, and achievement to individuals with disabilities and their families.
Okay, so that video is a few years old, but it really does still ring true. And I think maybe the thing I'd like to point out about it is, while my home base is the Center for Children with Disabilities, you saw a lot of older adults in that video as well. And our kids, due to the advances in medical science and the great technologies that we have available to us, are living much longer. So our age range of the people we serve is from babies all the way through the lifespan these days. But I'm here to talk about the Center for Children with Disabilities. So let me just tell you briefly what it is in terms of the type of organization it is, and then I'll go into a little bit of the staffing and services. Our organization is called an ICF-IID, which is an intermediate care facility for individuals with developmental disabilities. And what that is it's a federal program that allows us to provide our residential care through the Medicaid system, which is our primary payer for services. We do have a lot of eyes looking at us. We have the Department of Health comes every year, and as does the Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities. They come to survey us every year as well. Now, the video mentioned 126 beds. We are actually a 130-bed facility, and we also offer 2 respite beds. The respite beds are open for families in the community who maybe are going on a vacation or going through a health problem, and they need somewhere for their child to stay while they're working out some family issues or like I said, going out of town. So it's a nice service that we do offer to community folks, and it's great for their kids too, because they get to hang out with some friends that they've met and that they know at our facility, and a little getaway for them as well. So who do we serve? Who are these kids at Hattie Larlam? Our current residents range in age from 3 to 45. So like I said, some of them aren't kids anymore, although they do seem to have found the fountain of youth, because a lot of our adults that reside with us, you look at them and they look so young. And I have a little theory about that. I think it's the lack of stress and all of those bad things that we do to ourselves, going out in the sun and maybe, you know, drinking a little too much, eating a little too much. These kids, you know, are in top shape as much as they can be, and they really are quite healthy and happy at Hattie Larlam, and it really shows, and you can tell by the look on the young lady's face there how happy she is. And it is a happy place. You know, oftentimes people will say to me, how could you work at a place where there's all these children with such severe disabilities? I challenge anyone to come out and visit Hattie Larlam, because it is a very, very happy place, and you won't leave feeling sad or depressed in any way. These kids really, really do love their lives. But they are young children and young adults with profound intellectual and physical disabilities. They do have a number of challenges. All of our kids are non-ambulatory. They're all in wheelchairs. They're all, for the most part, nonverbal. We do have some kids who have the ability to communicate through signs or symbols using communication devices. But for the most part, we have to get to know them really well and find out their body movements, their facial expressions, are there ways that they communicate with us. And they are dependent on caregivers for all of their activities of daily living. So I won't go through this list entirely, but what does medically fragile mean? Well, here it is. There's a lot of challenges, and most of our children have multiple issues that are listed on this page. The vast majority, the first few bullet points, seizure disorder, cerebral palsy, visual impairment, hearing impairment, the vast majority do experience those conditions with a lot of other complications and comorbid conditions as well. So they do have a lot of challenges, and it's amazing the attitudes and the resilience of our children. So a little bit about the folks that are taking care of our kids. We have a fully staffed medical and nursing team, and we have our doctor, our pediatrician, Dr. Grossberg is pictured there on the upper left, and our 2 nurse practitioners are pictured there, as well as our director of respiratory therapy. We do have 24-hour nursing, 24-hour respiratory therapy. That's a relatively new addition to our staff, the respiratory therapy, as we just started a new program providing services to ventilator-dependent individuals, which I'll talk about in a second. We also have a registered dietitian who's there full-time, which is unique for a facility like ours. And we have quite a few consulting physicians in a lot of different areas that come to us from Akron Children's Hospital, Rainbow Babies and Children's, and some private practitioners as well. So we do cover the full gamut of all of our children's needs at our facility. So what do our medical services do? Here's just some of the areas that they take care of. They really do handle all of the medical needs. Now, if our children are having a crisis, we do send them out to the hospital, but for the most part, the vast majority of their needs and concerns can be taken care of right on site. So I mentioned the ventilator program. This is a brand new service that we're really proud of. We worked very hard for many, many years, well before I became the director of the facility, to prepare for this. What we found was that there are a lot of children in the state who are just sitting in hospitals who don't need that hospital level of care, but have nowhere to go, really. They're not quite ready to go home, or the home isn't ready to accept them. And it's costing the taxpayers about $2,500 to $3,000 a day to care for them in the hospital, whereas we can do it for about $600 to $800 a day. So it's a win-win for the taxpayers, it's a win for the kids, and I'll give you a real quick example of why it's a win for the kids. We just admitted our first ventilator-dependent young lady, and she had been in the hospital for months and months and months, pretty much in the hospital bed at all times, in a hospital gown. She had a lot of arm movements, and so the hospital staff was concerned that she might pull at her tubing, which would be, of course, very detrimental to her and perhaps fatal. So they weren't really sure what to do with that, so basically they just strapped her down. They strapped her arms down. So her day generally was laying in bed in that hospital gown, strapped down, pretty much all day, with no peers, not going to school, nothing like that. So she came to Hattie Laurelum in January, and she's wearing street clothes every day. She's up and about in our day hall area with the other kids, with her peers. She's attending school. Our therapy department devised a toy bar for her that hangs over her bed and hangs on her chair so that she has something to do with her hands, because really she was just bored. They also devised a way that her tubing could be under her clothing so that there was less chance that she would pull at it. And we're finding we're not having those problems or concerns of her pulling at the tubing. And she is happy and out with her peers, and really quite a success story. The medical team has even been weaning her off the ventilator, and they feel very strongly that in time she will be able to breathe on her own. She's already doing about 2 hours a day, twice a day, an hour twice a day without the ventilator. So she is making progress, and this is the kind of program that we have developed, and we're very proud to get off the ground. So we have a whole range of other services besides medical. We have a very rich therapy department, physical therapy, occupational therapy. You can see all the areas up here, as well as a social work staff and psychology services, recreation staff. These kids are busy. Their lives are busier than mine. By the time we got here today, they've been up and in several activities already. So they've got things to do. We also, the backbone of our organization is our habilitation staff. These are our direct care workers who really help our kids with everything that they need on a daily basis, all of their personal care and skill training. They help the kids to gain as much independence as they possibly can. So everything that the habilitation assistants do with our kids is a learning opportunity. So they're not just feeding them or bathing them, they're helping to teach them to try to feed and bathe themselves to the extent that they possibly can. So our kids also go to school or attend a day program to try to develop some vocational and social skills depending on their age. Children under the age of 22 go to an on-site school program. Some of them also go to school in the community. It's just a matter of choice. They have several different educational programs that they can choose from that are geared toward their level of understanding, either in-house or in the community. And the adults over the age of 22 attend day programs, again, either on-site or off-site, depending upon their family's choices for them. So it's not all work. Our kids have a lot of fun, as I mentioned. We do take them on a lot of outings into the community. We have interactive activities, parties, dances. We have a really nice hydrotherapy pool that's a favorite for everybody to get in the pool. We have a huge play center, which I'll show you a picture of in a minute, as well as a snoozling room, which was a word that was new to me when I came to Hattie Larlam, but it's a sensory room, and it's really cool. You can see in the picture up above all these lights and big beanbag chairs and those bubble tubes, and it's just a cool place that I'd like to kind of curl up in sometimes if I could. But it's a really nice for kids to be able to just sort of chill out and relax. And that's our play center. It's actually decorated a lot more. That was a picture when it was really new. There's a lot more toys and it's a lot more decorated. And that area is used for both our kids as well as typically developing kids from the community who come in for parties. And we have a preschool on site that's an integrated preschool that is for typically developing children as well as developmentally disabled children who use that play center. So here's my favorite activity. Prom is just one of the many age-appropriate activities that our staff provides for our kids. For kids who would normally be going to prom based on their developmental or their age, we have a prom. We have local gown and tuxedo shops that donate all of the gowns and the tuxedos, and hairdressers that come in and really spiff up the kids and make them look like princesses and princes. And we have kids from other schools come in and they participate in prom. And it's just like any other prom that you would go to, with flowers and prom king and queen, and the kids have a great time. They really respond well to music. So our creative arts program is very unique. It's the only one that I'm aware of in existence where we have actual artists who work with our children one-on-one to help them express themselves, to be able to paint beautiful works of art. And what's really unique about it is that all proceeds from the art sales go right back to the artist in the form of a trust fund. Hattie Larlam does not make one penny off of the art sales. We've had kids who have used the money that they've earned to go on a trip, one to Disney World, some who have purchased big screen TVs for their rooms, some whose families have used it to offset medical costs, amazing things. And to date, we have sold over $50,000 worth of artwork. Just a few miscellaneous special programs. I mentioned the preschool that we have. We have multiple camp programs in the summer. We have an accessible playground. I mentioned the respite care. We have a toy lending library, which is very cool. A lot of these toys are very technologically based and quite expensive. So families might want to try out these toys before they decide to buy some for themselves. Or if they can't afford to buy them, they can just check them out from the library, and then when their child at home, this is a service we offer to the community, when their child at home gets tired of it, they just bring it back and get a different toy. So that's a very nice program that we offer for the community as well. And I won't go over this slide, just suffice it to say we've got a lot of kind of highfalutin research going on at Hattie Larlam. I can't even pronounce all those words. A lot of medical stuff there going on, and a lot of publications out there. So we're very thankful to be able to have a great relationship with our local hospitals and researchers. I would be remiss to say that, as I said, the center is my home base, but we also have group homes in the community. There are 4 in Cuyahoga County, 4 10-bed homes, and we are in the process of building more homes in different counties as well to serve our more adult individuals with lesser medical needs who can survive and thrive in the community. And here's just some pictures of our folks at our group homes and some of the activities that they get involved in. And just a few more photos from prom and different activities that have been going on. And even more photos of some of the community outings, baseball games, and different activities that the kids get involved in. So that is, in a nutshell, the overview of our services at Hattie Larlam Center for Children with Disabilities. I didn't get into a lot of the vocational programs and the community-based programs, but I'm happy to take questions if you have them.
Questions? You know, I have one question.
Sure.
As far as your clients, your children, the interaction, is it mostly with their caregivers, or is there interaction between the clients
The
themselves?
children themselves? Yeah, it's a variety. We have a lot of group type activities. It's not just one-on-one with staff and the children. There's a lot of volunteer groups come in and hold interactive games. We see a lot of high schoolers come in and do games with the kids, so they do interact with each other to the extent that they can, and sometimes it gets frustrating for the kids because those who can interact a little bit more than others, you know, trying to get their message across, so sometimes it's sort of challenging, but yes, they do interact with each other.
On your financial part,
Who's got the microphone? Okay.
I wonder how much would you have to have raised privately versus what you would get from taxes?
Well, Roseanne, we have a development department at Hattie Larlam that consists of how many people now are in the development department? We have six full-time staff whose job is to raise funds, and I know their goal annually is over $1 million, and still $2 million. My goodness, every year it goes up. Their goals are huge, and it still wouldn't be enough if they even managed to get all that. There's always more needs. There's always new technology coming out. So yes, our Medicaid funding does not by any stretch of the imagination cover all of our costs, and we are very much dependent upon the fundraising efforts of our development department and the generosity of our donors to be able to provide the care that we do. Yes.
Lori, I must compliment you on your comments this morning and the work of your team. It's very impressive. Thank you for that. I'm with the Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railroad, and just for the benefit of everybody here, we feature all of our fresh foods are packaged by Hattie Larlam, and do a wonderful job for us. We thank you for that too. But the question I wanted to ask you, I had a chance to actually tour your facility a couple of years ago with Dennis Allen, and I was so impressed with your art gallery and your artist studio. Can you comment a little bit on how the students get involved in that? Is it age appropriate, or how do kids get involved in that program? It's just a wonderful program for the betterment.
It really is. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm a huge supporter of the arts program. Right now we have probably 2/3 of our kids are involved in the art program to the extent that they can be. It really is based on their interest. A lot of the kids are trialed in the art program, and if it's something that they seem to be enjoying and they seem to want to do, then they certainly are welcome to be a part of it. And again, it's the situation is that we bring in an artist, a real artist from the community. They're called trackers, and what their job is to get to know that child and understand what is a yes and what is a no. So for one child, a yes may be an eye blink, maybe a movement of the arm, maybe a head movement, a knee jerk. They need to find out what is a yes and what is a no, first and foremost. And then what the tracker does is they have a canvas in front of them, or they have branched out into pottery as well now and some other textiles arts. But they have the media in front of the child, and they are the most patient people on the planet because they will start with, what color would you like to use? Would you like to use red? And they will hold up red, and they will wait for that child to give them the yes or the no. No, you don't want red? Would you like purple? No. Blue? Not the shade of blue. Would you like a lighter blue, a darker blue? It takes sometimes years to create a painting. Once they get the color, then they will put the brush. Would you like me to start the brush here? No, here, over here. It is painstaking, really, to watch. I mean, it's amazing to watch, but I couldn't do it. I was like, you want to use red, right? Red, and you'd like to start right here, right? But these trackers are amazing. They're so patient. So over the course of months and sometimes years, these works of arts are created, and it really is an opportunity to give our children a voice that they normally wouldn't have. It may be in some cases the only form of self-expression that they're able to get out of that body and communicate to somebody and put on paper or canvas. And I've been to some of these art showings that we've had in various locations, and when the kids see their art up on the wall, because we do take them there, and when their art sells, they know, they understand, they get it, they know what's going on, and the joy on their face and the pride is just amazing.
Am I on? Thank you very much for a wonderful presentation that I know will add more meaning to why we have the gala and have the Hattie Arden as a beneficiary, motivate our.
Thank you for having me, I appreciate it.
I've also toured the facilities, and it's just a wonderful, joyous place, and the great work that you do. I miss the Hattie Larlam shop and cafe in Hudson. I spent a lot of time in there, so I loved it. The Hattie catering, other than a railroad, can you explain a little bit about what that is?
Oh, absolutely. It's a full-service catering service that we offer. I guess, you know, that kind of sums it up in a nutshell. We do still have cafes. The one in Hudson did close because it just was not viable where it was. There's a lot of expense, of course, involved in running a business like that. And so, unfortunately, it just wasn't able, after 7 years of good faith effort, we just weren't able to continue it. But we do have a bakery, and we have other cafes, and we do have this full-service catering program that we offer. That is a vocational program that people with disabilities are involved in. And I can tell you from personal experience, my boyfriend has a business in Hudson and recently had a 10-year anniversary, and I hired the Hattie's catering service to cater that event, and they did a phenomenal job. The quality of the food, the service, the delivery, the setup, and the amount of food that they brought for the price was not to be beaten. So it's definitely competitive with other catering services out there in the community. Oh, okay. Well, again, thank you so much for having me, and please come visit us at Hattie Larlam if you get the opportunity.
Well, life is full of changes, as you can tell looking at the video and the pictures. So now we're going to hear from Duncan Tanner. We all know him as our fine master, acting sergeant at arms, the Rotary historian, and of course working on the foundation with a revenue development committee. So take it away.
Today is my last day with the club. Last week's Florida business trip turned out to be a lot more than just bidding some contract jobs. The meeting I had on Thursday morning was pretty clear to both those who I was presenting to and me that they needed more than a consultant, and there was a perfect confluence of where I am in this time of my life, the fact the boys are gone, what this organization needs, what I can do, and quite frankly, what they can do for me. The timeline is tight. I interviewed on Thursday. The offer was made Thursday afternoon. I signed the contract on Friday. And they want me in Sarasota Saturday. So there's some packing to do. I have a bunch of friends down there, so I won't be homeless. Of course, down there you can pitch a tent on the beach. It'll be all good. The name of the organization is Josh Provides. And if you have the opportunity, go to joshprovides.org. This is an epilepsy assistance foundation. A bunch of good people from Cleveland, Akron, and Youngstown went down there about 30 years ago in semi-retirement, lawyers and CPAs primarily. And one of their sons, at the time a 21-year-old named Josh, had an epileptic fit of such magnitude that he died. And they recognized him with a foundation. And they have been, in a well-meaning but less than professional way, trying to raise money and giving out grants as quickly as they can build their endowment. From seizure assistance dogs to helping people with medication, can't afford it, to covering other insurance needs, to providing counseling and references to national epilepsy foundations. This group is really doing the job, and I'm excited. The plan was to stay. And you folks made it very easy to want to stay. But as they say, it is what it is, and I'll be moving on, and I can't begin to tell every one of you how you've impacted me and how much I'm going to miss you. I am told that the Sarasota Rotary is pretty active, and if they can tolerate me as a pain in the butt as much as you have, then I'll appreciate it. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Can't let him go without gifts, right? So I have history trivia game.
Nice.
And sunscreen, right? Yes, wear sunscreen.
Good Scandinavian skin. Thank you.
Rich Warfield wanted to say something to update us on sports.
That was so good. How come they wouldn't give you a shower?
Okay, how come that looks like a deodorant? Since you're going to be sleeping on the beach. Well, Duncan, you know what they say. Sometimes you have to let go of things that you love, and hopefully they will return someday. And all we can do is wish you best of luck, because you are a quality person, and you've done a lot for this club in the short time you've been here. So we'll miss your long speeches.
Yeah.
Anyway, sports update. Coach is not here. He's off skiing in Colorado or doing something. Anyway, I guess the wrestling team is doing real well. That's all I know from reading the paper. Gymnastics team is doing real well. Basketball team, as you can see, are doing real well. I think they're like 14-2. Just wanted to give you a slight or brief update on the hockey team. That's probably something I know a little bit more about than the rest of them. But anyway, we played Roosevelt Saturday night in the district playoffs, and we've been down 3 players. Our best defenseman broke his leg in the Martin Luther King tournament. It was before the boys came up here and spoke, and thank you once again for welcoming them. And then 2 more kids broke a pinky and a thumb, so we've been down 3 players for the last 6 or 7 games. But they fought against Kent Roosevelt. I think at the end of the first period it was 2-0, Kent 2, Hudson 0, and we outshot them 13-7 the first period. Second period it was 2-2, and we outshot them 12-3. So you can see the kids controlled the play. Third period ended up 2-2 tie. By the way, in between the first and third period, the referees, for some reason, disallowed a goal for Hudson on a power play, which nobody could figure out why they did. But that's sports, you know, at the end of the day. It went into double overtime with 7 seconds left. Roosevelt scored a goal to win it 3-2. But the kids that were left standing, the ones that, especially the seniors, fought and fought and fought, and they were just completely exhausted after 5 periods of hockey. And I just really felt bad for them because, you know, there's 9 seniors, and the reason why I'm also telling you this is whether it's football, hockey, basketball, soccer, wrestling, gymnastics, volleyball, we need to support these kids. The program's gone from 40 kids, and Brad Nelson was here. He would support this statement down to 22 kids. We're losing 9 seniors, so do the math, 22 to 13, but we are getting 7 freshmen in, so that brings us back to 20. But we used to have a JV and a varsity team. We got to continue to stand behind these sports teams, be there to support them, because Hudson is a force in sports, and we have to continue to support these teams. Thanks for your time.